Well, we believe the church originated back in the beginning of the Christian tradition in Ireland, going back to the 4th century. Probably the first church on this site would have been a timber church. The last crossing point of the Shannon before Connacht. Very important place in medieval times. Lost its prominence really as time moved on. Athlone became more prominent. Church, 14th century, would have been appropriated to the canons regular on Saints Island in Loughree. Monasteries were dissolved by King Henry VIII. Church would have been a bit dormant and didn't reach prominence again until the lanes came.
The current structure as we know it was built in the 19th century.
Yes, the current structure, they really started in 1859, and more or less by the end of 1861 it was finished, and it was dedicated then in April of 1862.
How do you explain how the church is in such pristine condition at the moment?
Well, over the years the parishioners have put an awful lot of work and effort into this church, and for many, many years there was only 2 families in Lanesborough. There was no electricity in the church, but they managed to keep it. If they hadn't been dedicated to it, the church wouldn't be here now. And at one stage we got electricity from the local butcher shop. There was also gas lighting in it at one stage. So in 1987, it came to the notice of Derek Cobb actually that the church had no electricity, and he commenced a campaign in the Longford News, and which accumulated in the people of Ballyleague, Lanesborough and further afield collecting funds and installing electricity. And from that point on, I would think that the parishioners got more confidence in their own ability, and the fact that the church was so important to the village, that they continued carrying out repair works to it and such like. So that is basically it. That has continued to the present day. Every year we've carried out work to it.
The previous church that was here was burnt down, I understand, in 1691, the Battle of the Boyne period.
The previous church on the site would have been a church that Lanes embellished when they came here, and they actually rebuilt most of the previous church on the site. Unfortunately, that church was damaged in 1691 by opposing factions from the Battle of the Boyne, where we had the Jacobites on the Ballyleague side and the Williamites over here, and cannon fire destroyed the belfry. So the church lay dormant again until around about 1740, when the primate basically told the vestry here to get their act together and carry out some rebuilding to the church, which they duly did.
Can you point out some of the features in the church? There's a time capsule here, I understand.
To celebrate the 150th anniversary of the present building, the Sunday School children presented to the church a time capsule. The time capsule, stainless steel, was actually fabricated by workers in Sligo dairies, and it was filled with memorabilia. The Longford News, first page of the Longford News, and the Irish Times, along with coins and such like. And it was placed in the old fireplace, which is beside the pulpit over here. It's been bricked up, and there's a slab, a limestone slab placed on top of it. The slab was presented by actually stonemason in Rahara. And that's how our time capsule came.
There's an impressive looking statue in the corner.
Yeah, the model here is a model of King Solomon's Temple. As part of our 150th celebrations, the children, Sunday school children again, along with the children from our next door neighbours, our primary school, came together and organised a service and a concert. And it was based on the building of King Solomon's Temple. So hence we have a model of King Solomon's Temple here.
You can see the outline of the crest here at the bottom of the church. What's the significance of it?
When the Lanes came and they embellished the church on the site, they built a vault for their family. And the remains of the Lanes were laid to rest here. In fact, the first Viscount Lanesborough was laid to rest here. But when the church was damaged in 1691, we believe that the remains were removed. We have no idea where they went. But that particular coat of arms is the coat of arms of the first Viscount and was actually taken off the family vault in the previous church on the site. This is the Book of Common Prayer that's used in all Church of Ireland churches. This particular one is from Recline Church in 1866. This particular one here is also the Book of Common Prayer, and this dates back to 1840. As you can see, the prayer that's open at this particular one is a prayer for persons who are due to be hanged, which is the way the Victorians see it.
Fascinating, that one, isn't it, really?
That's the one that it gives you an insight into the way the Victorians felt about life, death and crime. This here is a more modern version of the Book of Common Prayer, and this one here is the alternative prayer book, which we used for a while during the 70s. It wasn't very, very successful. People kept going back to the Book of Common Prayer. And the latest Book of Common Prayer now came out around about 10 years ago, and it's the book we use at the moment. Probably won't be changed again. This is a commemoration plate that we had specially commissioned for the 150th anniversary of the church. This is actually shavings that we found when we were renovating the church from the original building. This here, the Bible, the King James Bible, which was predominantly used in churches. It was the recognised and authorised Bible to be used in the church. Not so much nowadays, with more modern versions of the Bible, but at one time that would be the only Bible that would be found in Church of Ireland churches. This here is two coins that we found during the renovation of the church. One of them is 1860, the other 1862. The reign of Queen Victoria was the reigning monarch at the time. Church hymnal, which in the Church of Ireland, music plays a very, very important part of our services. And this would be the church hymnal. This one here is, I think it goes back to around about 1890. And this is the more modern one.
And these items over here?
One of the organisations within predominantly Anglican churches, Church of Ireland, was an organisation called the Boys Brigade, and it basically was a Christian organisation for youth, and it was founded in 1883 by William Alexander Smith in Glasgow, and it was the first Christian uniformed organisation for boys. And this is part of the uniform that would have been worn. I don't think they wear a uniform anymore now, but you can see the various badges, the belt, the haversack, and the hat.
Phil, I see there's a plaque on the wall dedicated to young Thomas Harrell, is his name?
Yeah, Thomas Harrell, he was actually a driver in the auxiliaries during the First World War. And he was only around about 23, 24 years of age, and unfortunately he lost his life. The war was nearly over actually when he lost his life, and sadly no mortal remains remained of him. He was just.
I understand his family is still around.
His family is still here, and there a few years ago, we decided that we would like to have a remembrance service. We didn't really know a lot about him, we'd no photograph or anything. So we went to the family and said, look, we'd like to do this. And they were absolutely delighted. His uncle actually is a member of the Irish Defence Forces. He's retired now, and he was only too happy to provide us with information about him. So every year now, we rehang the poppy wreath under his plaque.
I understand the cemetery outside it dates from the pre-Reformation.
It does, yeah. When the monasteries were dissolved, the people from the local area would have buried within the precincts of the old monastic structure. So what we call the cemetery here is a pre-Reformation cemetery, where people of all the Christian traditions are buried. That's why you have Protestants, Roman Catholics and such like buried in it. A lot of the grave markings are gone because a lot of the people wouldn't have been able to afford any grave markings.
And what is the oldest dated?
The oldest one we know of out there is 1691. There's a guy called Bannon. The arch outside is the arch from the previous church on the site. It was the original entrance. The entrance would have been from the back of the church instead of a road being on the front of the church.